Welcome back to Starz Recapped. Today we're diving into the chilling psychological thriller, The Moor, a movie that blends suspense, mystery, and haunting atmosphere. Set against the eerie backdrop of the English countryside, this film follows a terrifying journey where secrets buried in the moors refuse to stay hidden. In this breakdown, we'll explore the movie's story, characters, and shocking twists in simple detail so you can enjoy the full experience. If you love mystery thrillers, horror films, and suspenseful endings explained, then you're in the right place. Stick around as we uncover the dark truth behind The Moor and explain what really happened, with a spoiler-filled analysis that fans of thrillers and horror won't want to miss. The movie opens in Yorkshire, England, back in 1996. Here we meet two young best friends, Claire and Danny. Like most kids, they spend their days playing together, pulling little pranks, and getting into harmless trouble. But one afternoon, what started as playful fun turns into something unforgettable. Claire comes up with the idea to steal from a local shop. To make it work, she sends Danny inside first, telling him to pretend he's lost so the shopkeeper won't notice her. Nervous but trusting his friend, Danny goes in. While he distracts the owner, Claire sneaks in, grabs a few things, and quickly runs out. But when she returns for Danny, the shopkeeper calmly tells her that his father came to pick him up. Claire's stomach sinks. She instantly knows that man wasn't Danny's dad. Something horrifying has just happened. And, tragically, Danny never comes back. It's soon revealed that Danny was kidnapped. The abductor was eventually caught and punished, but no one ever discovered what really happened to the boy or where his body was hidden. The mystery remained unsolved. Fast forward 25 years. Claire is now grown and back in her hometown, but the disappearance of her childhood friends still haunts her. While visiting, she runs into Bill, Danny's father, at a small diner. Bill is a shadow of the man he once was, still broken from losing his son. Claire now runs a podcast, and Bill asks if she could feature Danny's story to bring new attention to the case. Claire explains that her podcast is small, not something that would reach millions. Still, Bill begs her to try. He believes Danny might still be out there, or at least that his remains could be found. His latest tip points to the moors, a cold, empty, and isolated stretch of land. Claire agrees to help, not because she truly believes in finding Danny, but because of the guilt she has carried for years. After all, it was her plan that led Danny into that store. The next day, Bill introduces Claire to Liz, a local ranger who knows the moors inside and out. Together, they head out into the wild countryside. Claire can't shake her unease. The endless fields of grass, the silence, the isolation, it all feels threatening. And deep down, she wonders, what if something happens to her out here too? Throughout the investigation, we also hear from townsfolk, including a retired detective named Thornley, who worked on the original case. He explains how, at the time, children were vanishing one by one. No bodies, no clues. The entire town lived in fear, convinced a predator was hiding among them, snatching kids without leaving a trace. Back at his house, Bill shows Claire a rough hand-drawn map. On it are several spots he's already searched, along with new areas he still wants to investigate in hopes of finding Danny's remains. One location in particular seems to stand out. Curious and wanting more answers, Claire decides to track down retired detective Thornley. When she meets him, Thornley is surprised. He explains that the section of the moors Bill keeps focusing on was already searched thoroughly years ago during the original investigation, and nothing was ever found. So why is Bill convinced there's something hidden there? Thornley pulls out several layered maps showing just how massive the moors really are. Bill has only scratched the surface of one small piece of it. Claire leaves the meeting more puzzled than before. Later, she notices someone visiting Bill's place, a man named Alex. He's holding a pendulum and slowly letting it swing over Bill's map. To her surprise, the pendulum begins to shift, finally stopping over a specific spot. Without hesitation, Bill marks it. When Claire asks who Alex is, Bill simply says he's a friend helping out. Claire doesn't push further, but something about it feels off, leaving her uneasy. The next morning, Bill, Claire, and Liz head back into the moors. This time, Claire brings a GoPro, determined to document everything. As they push deeper into the wilderness, the atmosphere grows heavier. At one point, Claire notices two sheep staring directly at them, completely still. The strange behavior sends chills down her spine. Hours into the search, Claire suddenly feels pulled in a certain direction. Following her instinct, she stumbles upon something small but shocking, a child's shoe. Bill and Liz quickly rush over, and Bill carefully seals the shoe inside a plastic bag. On the way back, however, the weight of it all hits Claire. The endless silence, the emptiness of the moors, and the painful memories from her childhood become too much. Panic takes over, and she insists they leave immediately. Fortunately, the group manages to make it back to the road safely. We then see Bill at the local police station, desperately trying to get Danny's case reopened. He brings the child's shoe they found, hoping it will finally be treated as new evidence. But the officers quickly shut him down. They explain that without DNA, proof of when the shoe was discovered, or any clear link to the case, it's not enough to restart the investigation. Heartbroken, Bill leaves with nothing but frustration. At the same time, the film cuts to old interview footage from decades ago. Villagers recall the time when the suspected kidnapper was finally caught. The community felt some relief, but the fear never truly went away. Questions lingered. What had really happened to the missing children? Why were no bodies ever found? Strangely, the police never even released the man's photo. He was given 25 years in prison instead of the death penalty, which only fueled suspicions that something wasn't right with the investigation. Later, Claire returns to the moors with Bill and Liz. As they search, Claire suddenly realizes she's alone. Both Bill and Liz are gone. She hears faint sounds and, in a shocking moment, finds herself standing behind the same shop where Danny disappeared all those years ago. Everything looks exactly as it did back in 1996. In the distance, she sees a young boy who looks just like Danny. Then a dark, shadowy figure appears, moving toward him. Claire realizes she's witnessing the kidnapping itself. Panicked and in tears, she runs to protect him, only to wake up. It was just a nightmare. Days later, Bill decides he can't rely on the police. He's determined to keep searching the moors. Before setting out again, he meets once more with Alex, hoping his unusual methods can help narrow down the location. But Alex tells him he's already done everything he can. From Claire's point of view, the whole thing starts looking like a scam. Yet, to her surprise, she finds out Alex has never asked for a dime. Whatever he's doing, it's not for money. During a tense discussion, Alex admits something shocking. His daughter, Eleanor, has even stronger psychic abilities than he does. But using those powers comes at a cost, leaving her physically drained and vulnerable. That's why he's kept her away. But Bill, desperate for answers, has already gone behind Alex's back. He's contacted Eleanor directly, and she's agreed to help. Alex is furious, but Eleanor insists. She believes she can do this, even if it puts her at risk. Not long after, Eleanor arrives carrying a pendulum. At first, nothing happens, but when she touches the old shoe that once belonged to Danny, the pendulum suddenly spins on its own before stopping over one particular spot on the map. Bill wastes no time marking it down. It's their next destination. But the effort leaves Eleanor weak and pale. Her father quickly tells her to start counting numbers out loud, a technique that helps her stay grounded and prevents her from getting lost in the visions. It becomes clear that her gift is powerful, but it comes with a dangerous price. Earlier, Eleanor had warned everyone. Whenever she taps into her psychic abilities, her mind drifts into another realm, a place that feels endless and dangerous. If she stays there too long, she risks never coming back. That's why her father, Alex, never wanted her involved in the first place. He pleads with her to stay away from the moors, but Eleanor refuses. Deep down, she believes helping Bill is the right thing to do. The next morning, the group, Bill, Claire, Eleanor, Alex, and Liz, set out once again. As they walk, Eleanor confides in Claire. She can feel it deep in her bones. The moors don't want them there. The land itself feels hostile. As they get closer to the marked location, Eleanor suddenly freezes. She hears a voice, a young girl crying for help. No one else can hear it. Eleanor speaks gently, asking who she is. The girl replies, "I don't remember. Only darkness." Overcome with emotion, Eleanor tries to reach her, but just as suddenly, the voice fades away. Then, without warning, Eleanor takes off running. The others chase after her until she stumbles and falls into a hidden pit. Alex rushes to her side. She's unconscious, trapped between two worlds. Desperate, he urges her to start counting numbers aloud, the only thing that can ground her back to reality. Slowly, she comes back to herself, shaken but alive. Meanwhile, Bill feels an overwhelming pull toward the pit. He starts digging frantically. Then, the earth gives way and something horrifying is revealed. The skeletal remains of a child. Everyone is stunned. It isn't Danny, but another missing child, proof that the Moors hold many buried secrets. The discovery forces the police to return. Old cold cases are reopened, and investigators begin searching the area for more hidden bodies. 4 weeks pass, but Claire is still plagued by nightmares. The guilt never leaves her. During a quiet moment with Eleanor, she learns something even more disturbing. The little girl they found wasn't even reported missing in the area. Her body had been moved, deliberately hidden in the moors. The implication is terrifying. Someone was using the land as a dumping ground. Bill, however, refuses to give up. Decades of searching have left him weary, but he still clings to one belief. His son is still out there, somewhere in the moors. All he wants is to bring Danny home, to see him one last time, and finally lay him to rest. One day, Bill and Claire return to Eleanor, desperate for answers. That's when she reveals something personal. A spirit named Thomas has been with her since childhood, a guardian presence who protects her during her visions. But to speak to him directly, she must allow Thomas to temporarily take control of her body. Bill doesn't hesitate. He asks her to reach out to find out if Danny is buried among the other children. His instincts tell him all the victims were hidden in the same place. If they can locate the others, they'll find Danny too. Eleanor agrees. She prepares herself and with a deep breath begins the ritual to call on Thomas. Through Eleanor, the spirit Thomas finally begins to speak. His voice is calm, but carries a heavy weight. When Alex asks about the missing children, Thomas gives a chilling reply. The children are silent now. They're trapped in darkness. Bill then asks the one question that has haunted him for decades. Is Danny among them? Before Thomas can answer, something strange happens. The map on the table suddenly becomes wet, as though drenched by invisible hands. The pendulum begins to spin wildly, then slams to a stop on one single point. That's where they need to go. Bill doesn't hesitate. He's ready to leave immediately. Alex warns him it could be dangerous, but before he can argue further, Claire steps in. She insists she's coming too. Danny needs us, she says. And so, once again, the group, Bill, Claire, Eleanor, Alex, and Liz, set off into the heart of the moors. This time, their path takes them farther than ever before, so deep that they know they'll have to spend the night there. As they move through the wilderness, they come across massive stone formations etched with strange carvings. Local legends say these markings go back thousands of years to ancient rituals long before their time. It's a haunting reminder that the land itself holds dark secrets. Before long, heavy rain forces the group to stop and set up camp. Inside the tents, Eleanor speaks up again. She warns the others. Thomas doesn't want them here. There's something in this place, something dark, and it doesn't want them to stay. Tension quickly rises. Bill and Alex clash, their frustration boiling over, until Bill storms out into the rain. Liz hurries after him, trying to calm him down. But out in the darkness, Bill sees something. A shadowy figure moving just ahead. Without thinking, he runs after it, only to sink into a deep bog. Liz drags him out just in time, but by then, they've strayed far from camp. Back at the tents, Alex steps outside, leaving Claire alone with Eleanor. In the quiet, Eleanor asks Claire something personal. How can you stand by Bill? He's so rough, so hard. Claire takes a moment before answering. She explains that Bill wasn't always this way. On the day Danny vanished, Bill had been screaming at the police, at neighbors, at anyone who would listen. But when he finally looked at Claire, he didn't shout. He just hugged her and softly asked, "Are you okay?" That single moment stayed with her. It was the reason she knew Bill never blamed her for what happened. He wasn't angry at her. He was simply a broken father, shattered by loss. Before the group can settle, Alex steps back into the tent, but something about him feels wrong. His face is blank, his movements unnatural. Then Eleanor suddenly screams, "Thomas is gone." A door has opened. Her voice shakes with panic. Bill and Liz rush back, only to be met with a horrifying sight. Eleanor isn't herself anymore. Her eyes are empty, her voice distorted, and her whole body trembles violently as if something has taken over. She begs Alex for help, but he just stands there, silent, staring. Suddenly, blood begins to stream from her eyes. Whatever spirit has latched onto her, it's not Thomas. It's something much darker, something ancient. The others watch in helpless terror as Eleanor thrashes on the ground, battling the unseen force inside her. Liz grabs her phone to call for help, but instead of reaching emergency services, an unfamiliar voice answers. Calmly, it whispers, "No one can help you now." Everyone freezes in fear. Eleanor's screams grow louder as strange, layered voices spill from her lips, speaking in a language no one can understand. Then, amid the chaos, Bill hears something unmistakable. Danny's voice calling out to him. Panic spreads through the group. They stumble out of the tent, and the moor itself seems to twist and breathe around them, as if the land has come alive. Moments later, Eleanor collapses, unconscious. Just then, Alex appears at the edge of camp, demanding to know what happened to his daughter. But the group can only stare in shock, because they had just seen Alex inside the tent with them. The horrifying truth sets in. This isn't Alex. And before they can react, strange figures begin to emerge from the shadows. Sheep-like creatures with hollow, empty sockets where their eyes should be. Their presence feels unnatural, otherworldly, and they're closing in. The strange creatures close in, circling the group without making a sound. No one dares to move. Hours drag on until sunrise finally breaks the darkness. At dawn, a rescue team arrives and leads them away from the moor. But as they're leaving, Liz notices something chilling. The sheep-like figures from the night before are no longer alive. They've turned to stone, frozen in place like eerie statues. Later at the hospital, Eleanor receives treatment, though her mind is left deeply scarred by what happened. Her father, Alex, stays by her side, shaken to the core. Meanwhile, Claire gets an unsettling call from Detective Thornley. His words are clear. Never go back to that moor. Something evil happened there. He then reveals another shocking truth. The man once imprisoned for the kidnappings has now vanished. Claire is horrified, but Bill reacts differently. He's no longer the man she knew. His grief has hardened into obsession. He speaks less, grows more distant, and seems determined to return to the moor no matter the cost. Claire tries to stop him, but her words fall on deaf ears. The next day, she finally leaves him and goes home. There, she records an episode for her podcast, sharing every detail of what she experienced, as if unburdening her soul. But the story doesn't end there. In the film's haunting final sequence, we see the recovered footage from Claire's GoPro, recordings from that last night. The camera captures what really happened while the others slept. Bill led Claire back to the ritual site, guided by a voice only he could hear. That voice promised him, "Offer Claire as a sacrifice, and your son will be returned." Claire, terrified, pleads with him. Tears streaming, she begs, "This won't bring him back. Danny is gone." But Bill refuses to listen. In a moment of madness, he forces Claire into the bog, the same cursed swamp where so many children vanished. Her screams echo as spectral hands rise from beneath the mud, dragging her down into darkness. And then, in the final chilling image, a boy emerges from the shadows. It's Danny, or at least something wearing his face. The ending leaves us with a haunting question. Did Bill truly summon his lost son, or has his grief driven him into delusion? The moor demands a price, and in his desperation, Bill paid it. But the truth of what came back remains a mystery, and that wraps up the terrifying journey through the moor. A chilling mix of psychological horror, supernatural mystery, and dark ritual folklore that leaves us questioning what's real and what's madness. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the Moor ending explained, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Starz Recapped for more horror movie recaps, thriller endings explained, and supernatural mystery breakdowns. From cursed landscapes to haunted rituals, we'll keep bringing you the most spine-chilling psychological thrillers, horror movies explained, and suspenseful story recaps. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload, and drop a comment below. Do you think Danny really came back, or was it all in Bill's broken mind? Until next time, thanks for watching Starz Recapped, your home for horror movie explanations, thriller breakdowns, and dark mystery endings revealed.